Before we start our concert this afternoon, I'd like to introduce to a gentleman who has initiated this event. We've been having conversations for the last few months, and this is Bill Lloyd, who's he's from the George Lloyd Society. So I'll hand you over to Bill.
Thank you. That's very kind. Nice to see you, so many of you here. Thank you very much for turning out. Yes, my name is Bill Lloyd. It's a great honour really to be here today. Various strands have all come together for this afternoon's event. I come from Shawforth, I was born in Shawforth, and I've known the Whitworth and Healey Vale Brass Band all my life. I can remember the Whitwalks, they always played for the Whitwalks, Whitworth Carnival of course, the memorial services on Remembrance Day, and coming home from the Boy Scouts at Hallfold, we'd walk up past the band club and the band would be playing full blast since as long as I can remember. But I've never had much to do with the band, although when I left Whitworth in about 1970 something, I went into the music business and I set up a record company with the music of my uncle, who is George Lloyd, whose music is featured in the programme this evening. Now George, I won't go into the history of George Lloyd, but he was a Royal Marine, badly injured on Arctic convoy duties, and he was a cornet player, played in the Marine band, and he went on to become a very successful composer. He had 2 operas done in London before he was 25, almost unprecedented for a British composer. And he went on to compose lots of brass band music, particularly for the national championships and the European championships and the Australian championships and the USA championships. So his work is all over the world. So when the Whitworth Vale Healey Band, and here they are, won the 2nd Division National Championships, it was a moment of great pride to me. And it's also, as it happens, I've just now reached retirement age and I've handed over the management of my uncle's music, which is all his recordings and all his scores and all the parts and all the brass band music, to a publisher, which is a great relief to me because I can now sit back and enjoy my grandchildren and my garden, which is what I'd really like to do. Or Annie's garden. My wife Annie, who's not speaking at the moment, she's been working with me on this for the last 40 years on this whole music programme. A couple of very brief words about the Lloyd family in Whitworth. It's a long history. If you want to know more, please join us at the band club after this concert. George Lloyd was a fellow in 1761. George Lloyd of Manchester was a fellow of the Royal Society. He was a medical doctor. He was a founder, trustee of the Manchester Royal Infirmary where he practiced medicine. His grandfather had come out of Wales, he was a vicar, and his father was a wool merchant. But he became a medical doctor. And in 1761, he sold his house, which is a biggish house, to the Duke of Bridgewater to build the Bridgewater Canal, and the Bridgewater Hall now named after that man. And with the money that he got from selling his house, he bought a very significant part of the Whitworth Valley, and the Lloyd family have been here ever since. He built a lot of farmhouses, which are still here, and the family have been involved with quarrying, and they let some of the land to mining families and so on. And my great-grandfather donated land for Lloyd Street School and for St Michael's School, and my grandfather gave the land for the Memorial Gardens opposite. So we've been around a long time, and when I come back here I'm particularly proud of my hometown. So thank you very much. I'm now going to hand over, please, will you give welcome again to the Whitworth and Healey Vale Brass Band. Thank you.
to this afternoon's concert with Whitworth Vale Healey Band. Very warm welcome back to the Ashcroft as well. Our most local venue. It's always great to be here playing for everyone, and we always enjoy this lovely acoustic in here as well. Particular thanks as well to Bill and the George Lloyd Society for sponsoring this whole afternoon and being a big part of the reason the concert's all happening today. We've got some fantastic music for you this afternoon, and 3 absolute crackers from the pen of George Lloyd, which I will tell you a little bit more about later on as well. That was we started in traditional fashion with a traditional march called Senator. Bill mentioned the Whit Friday marches, I think, in his opening remarks, and that's going to be the one the band are playing around Saddleworth in a couple of weeks' time. So do keep an eye out for us and send us your good wishes. We'll see how we get on competing in the first section this year for the first time. You heard some lovely cornet playing in that march from Ollie on principal cornet, and we're going to feature him again now with the band's first solo of the afternoon. Ollie's chosen to play a great little piece from the pen of Peter Graham, and this is one for any Strictly fans who are disappointed about it all being over for another year, because Peter Graham's written a silky smooth little tango for Ollie to play. So please give him a very, very warm welcome. The band's principal cornet player, Oliver Tattersall. So we have a very talented young man on our hands here, don't we? You'll be hearing a lot more from Oliver Tattersall in the future. One more time for him, please. And we're going to carry on now for you with a lovely, light-hearted little number. It's amazing when I'm picking programmes for the band to play, almost every single time a piece from Gordon Langford sneaks on there. And sometimes I don't really realise it's happened, and I look at it and go, oh yeah, there's a Gordon Langford one again. And it's just because he's done so many fantastic arrangements for band. All really clever, all exquisitely scored. He gets the absolute right sound out to the band, I think, for me. And this is him putting his take on a little traditional English folk song called The Girl I Left Behind Me. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Next up, my great pleasure to feature the first music from George Lloyd on the programme. And I think when we were first thinking about what to play for you this afternoon, this was the first piece on the team sheet, so to speak. And it's from one of his test pieces. It says in your programme somewhere, I think, that he wasn't the best fan of contesting necessarily, but he did write some fantastic test pieces that are used in contests. Right up until, well, obviously this year, because we've been playing them recently. I'd say this probably is one of his most loved ones of all. We've decided to play the middle movement for you from Royal Parks. And just to set this up a little bit for you, it's titled In Memoriam, and the inscription underneath the title is In Memory of Bandsmen Killed by Terrorists, and he's referring to the IRA bomb in Regent's Park, which was actually placed underneath the bandstand where the Royal Green Jackets were playing, if you can imagine that. Absolutely unbelievable. And obviously deeply significant to George Lloyd with his past military service as well. Just before we play this piece, I will share with you a story that I read about it, which I think was relayed originally by Bill. And it was about a psychiatrist who listened to this piece and then was working with a patient deeply depressed patient who was completely non-verbal, and decided to try some music therapy with it. And one of the pieces he played was this movement that we're going to play for you now. And as the music reached its climax, the patient began to cry uncontrollably, and then said the first words of the months, which just were, "He knows," which I think is very, very moving. Deeply emotive music, and we'll try and do it justice for you this afternoon. This is In Memoriam from Royal Parks. very much. Now we have to follow that, I suppose, don't we? Which is not easy. For me, that's some of the best brass band writing around. Absolutely fantastic music. And if you haven't listened to the whole piece, it's worth going and having a listen to movement 1 and 3 as well, because they're lovely too. We're going to carry on now and feature, not solo this time, but a duet. We're featuring some more young talents within the band, coupled with some experience as well. I'll let you work out which one's which when they stand up, these two players. And we've chosen to let the euphoniums go next, in a break with tradition. Normally euphoniums have to go last when they're really tired and have played nearly the whole programme. But we're going to be kind to them this time, because there are lots of high notes in this. We're going to feature Natasha Duggleby and Ian Peters, both absolutely fantastic euphonium players, and they're going to play a piece called Deep Inside the Sacred Temple from Bizet's The Pearl Fishers. Please give them a warm welcome. one more time for Ian Peters and Natasha Ogilvie, please. Are you enjoying yourself so far this afternoon, everybody? Fabulous, thank you. Now we're going to have a little change in style now before we play you probably the most challenging piece of the afternoon as the band and probably as the audience as well. Lots of things to listen to in the one after this. First we're going to play you some music from Neil Hefti. If you don't know this piece, you'll probably know one of his other pieces that he wrote, which was the Batman theme. I'm sure everybody will recognise the Batman theme, even if you didn't know it was written by Neil Hefti. And this is just another little lovely jazz piece that he came up with, arranged for band by Philip Spark and featuring, I'm not even sure whether you can all see him over there, could you give us a wave, Richard? Featuring Richard Charles on the drum kits. This is a great little foot tapper, this is cute. Thank you very much, and some fabulous kit playing. One more time for Richard, please. Okay, and we've reached the last piece of the first half for you now, and don't worry if you're thinking it's not been particularly long. This is a full brass band test piece we're going to play you now, so it's about 12 minutes long, depending how excited the band gets in the fast bits. It really is the composer in full flow, giving it the treatment. It's an absolutely fantastic bit of writing, this. It's called Diversions on a Bass Theme, so what you have to listen for at the very start is a 2-bar little repeating phrase from the basses, and that's like the seed out of which all the different themes and tunes and little sections grow. So it's really clever the way George Lloyd develops everything and goes about his business in this one. So you can hear this side of the cornet playing some very intricate technical things in the first variation. There's some lovely little hymn tuning moments as well that you have to listen out for. Trombones, keep an eye on those trombone slides moving incredibly quickly over there. And there's a really famous bit about 2/3 of the way through where the writing for the band is it gives every single player the same thing to play. It's a line of constant running quavers. That's fast notes, if anyone's not a musician in the audience, and everybody has to play them completely together with a timp solo over the top, played by Rachel at the back right over there. The climax, the finale to the piece, I think is one of the best endings to a test piece that's been written for brass band. So we really hope you enjoy George Lloyd's Diversions on a Bass Theme, and we will see you in the second half. Thank you very much.
Thank you.